I'm Naomi Chavez, and this is the Strengthening Families for a Better Future class. We're doing our 10-week class that we started back in March, and then the COVID-19 kicked in, and we were not able to continue in the classroom. But I do have an announcement tonight. This is our Strengthening Families for a Better Future class, like I said, and we are on our last class tonight. So we will be resuming our class again. I spoke with staff yesterday, and we are going to be resuming class in 2 weeks. We're going to be taking a 2-week break. I'll be coming back to you with a whole new series for another 10 weeks. And meanwhile, I will continue to do one-on-one consultations with those of you who have already requested and those of you who would like to do that during the time that we are taking off. So I am glad that you were able, those of you that were able to take this class for 10 weeks. We're just going to be going over a few things tonight. It's tonight for me, today, morning, whatever it is for you there. So I want to just go over a few things with you. I want to just do a quick recap on the classes that we were able to complete already. We have learned. Normally in the classroom, we would have been doing a questions and answers, a regroup, looking at what we've learned, and have a conversation going on. Since we are not able to do that right now, if those of you that are talking to me one-on-ones weekly, we are able to go back. If you have any questions regarding the class, I will be able to answer any questions to you directly. And so at this point, we've covered that early childhood experiences and how they affect lives, our emotional, physical abuse. We've covered the loss and abandonment of physical neglect. We covered growing up with anxiety and or depression and talked about how it's never too late to get help. We covered how nutrition and exercise can affect mental and emotional feelings, breaking the cycle, generational bad eating habits. We also have covered the class on drug and alcohol abuse in the household. We have talked about examining our beliefs, our culture, traditions, transitioning into new ideas and approaches to strengthen the family, and the road to recovery through empowerment and education. As I said, we are on our discussion group today would have been where I come from, where I am at, and where I want to go, what I've learned in this group, and how I will use it to strengthen my family. And so we also will be talking about how to get to you a certificate of completion. And if you have been doing your weekly notes and turning them in, getting the verification that you've been taking the class, then you should be able to receive that certificate. So we will be notifying you when that is going to be available for you. So tonight, like I said, I just wanted to cover a few things, what we were doing in the classroom. So we had to do a regroup at one point. So we also did cover stress and stress management during the COVID pandemic time. So out of all those classes, I hope that they were very useful to you and that you were able to learn a lot from them. So we want to kind of just do a closing class tonight. When I asked the question about where you've been, what you've learned, your past, how it affects you now, and all of these things. One of the things that comes to my mind is consistency, how we're going to maintain the information we've taken in and how we're going to use it to strengthen our family. So where do we go from here? What's next? So consistency, I think, is very important to talk about because we've had a momentum of week-to-week classes, learning, and as I've been speaking to some of you, I've been realizing how the class has been useful to you and how you're going to be implementing some of the awareness that you've already taken by furthering it and doing some one-on-one consultations and counseling, seeking some help. But one of the things that's going to be very important is that we must learn to be consistent. So we're going to talk about consistency tonight. Consistency is a great characteristic to build and implement in your life. The key to consistency is setting and achieving specific goals. So with what we've learned in the class, I believe that one of those goals can be, like we said, is I'm going to take this information and I'm going to now take the parts or the things that I learned that apply to myself, and I want to further my learning about it. For example, if the class that you took with me on nutrition was one of the classes that you realize about stress eating, emotional eating, and you are now feeling like that's me, I need help, I need to get some help from my habits, or and I need to get more education. And then you can set the goal that you're going to seek a referral, because part of the class was that we could give you referrals to get more information on that subject and any of the subjects that we talked about. So we do want to provide referrals, we want to provide counseling, and we want to provide some planning support at the end of this class that we're at now, and ongoing information for you as we continue. So again, be consistent with what you've learned in implementing it, applying it to strengthen yourself, to strengthen your family, and to continue raising awareness for yourself and seeking the help that you may need in the different subjects. So we need to start by determining how we want to be more consistent in our lives. And then we can start setting some small goals and look at how we're going to achieve those goals. Over time, as you become more consistent, you want to keep yourself motivated and accountable. And this may require some change in your thinking so that you can stay productive, throughout the rest of your lives, basically. So how do you stay motivated? Well, again, you continue to participate with all the activities that are being made available to you. All the resources are being made available to you. You keep reaching out, you keep talking to the staff, you keep doing your part, and remind yourself that you have goals and that those goals will be achievable with the right support in your life. Also, once you've identified, at this point, with the classes we've given you, what is your goal? What do you want to take from this class? What do you want to use this information of these classes that you've taken to do? And you start with small steps, and then you just start, to walk toward those goals. And again, using another example, we had a class on anxiety and depression. If you realize that you are dealing with anxiety or have been dealing with anxiety and you want to change that, then you set a goal. You set a goal that that's going to be something you want to change. It's going to be something that you want to work on, and you're going to start now to reach out to these resources that are being made available to you and get the referrals that you need so that you can see a counselor, you can see a therapist, and get that support, and that you're able to move forward from that situation that you're dealing with of anxiety. Also, we would like you to give yourself time to see the changes. We talked about being patient with yourselves. We talked about, that in stress management, it's important to understand that, everything is a process. And so whenever you try to establish new habits, you need to understand that it can take time. Instead of, thinking that overnight everything's going to change, I always say, we didn't learn behaviors overnight. And so we don't unlearn them overnight. You have to be patient with yourself, and you need to begin to take those small steps toward the bigger goals to learn and support yourself with what you need, time, to figure out what's going to work for you. So be realistic with what you can expect for yourself also over time. And again, understand that there's a process in change. You have the desire to change, you have the desire to change certain things in your life. Consistency has also to do with maintaining the goal and being patient with yourself. We know that to make something a new habit, it's been known that it could take 3 weeks of consistently doing something in order to form new habits. So at least minimum, begin with those 3 weeks. Give yourself 3 weeks to really absorb and take in the idea that you're going to be making some changes, and that it's going to take time for you to make those changes. Set some boundaries for yourself with your commitments. If you have to get off of your phone more, watch less TV, cut back on other activities you might be involved in doing, so that you're able to make time to reach your goals that you're setting for yourselves. So, for example, you might establish a goal that you won't take phone calls, while you're reading. If you get some self-help books and you're on the internet and you're taking an online class related to the subject that affects you, and you want to make those changes, you're going to make some you're going to set some boundaries that you're not going to be taking phone calls or be looking at other things and getting involved in other things. Set some boundaries of a space for you, that you're going to separate yourself so that you can focus on yourself and work on those things. Journaling, we talked about journaling at one point, how important it is to maintain also, that's why I talked about doing a notebook from the beginning and taking notes and then turning them in, getting in the habit of writing things down. So you might want to set aside some time and a place where you can do your daily journaling. So consistency means that it doesn't end here. The class doesn't end at the end of 10 weeks. This is just the beginning of the transformation that you want to do for yourself. So that was just a basis of the beginning of taking notes and writing things down. And I would like to see that you would be able to continue to do that. Build your willpower. Consistency requires willpower to achieve, because consistency tends to lean toward performing even when you don't feel like it. So consistency has nothing to do with because I feel like doing it. It has to do with even when you don't feel like doing something, you recognize that you've set some goals for yourself, that you want to strengthen your life, you want to strengthen your future. And because you've set a goal, then you're going to remain consistent. You're going to, use the willpower within you that you have to be able to achieve that. So also, another point I want to talk about is make sure you're working on eliminating any negative thinking. Negative thinking is something that will ban consistency and your willpower. In other words, it will not allow you to move forward. When you think negatively, you're making yourself less likely to be able to hold on to your consistent actions. And what are some ways that we can be negative? It's saying, I can't. The word I can't change. I've been doing this a long time. I've been thinking this way. Yeah, I took the classes. I listened to the classes. I'm aware now of those things, but I've been this way a long time. I can't change. That's a negative way of thinking. You need to start to change your way of thinking and say, I can. It might be hard. It might take work. It might take some sacrifice on my part, but you have to tell yourself, you've been through a lot of hard things already. A lot of you got to where you're at through a lot of hard negative experiences in your own lives, and you need to remind yourself you're still here, you're still moving forward. So that means you can do hard things. So I'm going to do some questions and answers from right here, since we can't do them in person. So a question that might come up is, what does it mean when a person is consistent? It means that they follow through on promises, commitments, and appointments. It's a tendency to do this on most occasions. So they learn, to have a pattern of following through, of the commitments, on the appointments, and whatever you set your mind to do and your goals, you're going to follow through on them. Is it possible to start being consistent when everything I've done has been inconsistent? And the answer is yes. Set small goals, and when you achieve them, you're going to feel confident and you're going to want to do many things. So begin with small goals, and you can build onto that by setting bigger goals. But start with small things, and when you achieve those, then you're able to move forward with new goals. So where do we go to from here? We're going to take 2 weeks off. We're going to do the one-on-ones, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks. You will be provided the link like we've been doing it up until now, and you'll be able to log on to this YouTube channel that's been specifically done for PVSS, and you'll be able to continue to take the classes. Go back if there was a class that maybe you didn't see fully, or you just want to review them, then also go back and watch them again, and just use them. They're going to be there for you so that you can watch them over again, and whatever can be useful, refreshing class to you. And I hope that they have been very useful to you. So if you have any comments, you have any questions, please go ahead and take time to write them down and turn that into the staff, and they will let me know and communicate with me. I hope that soon we'll be able to have a classroom again, and we'll be able to do. We don't know. We're still waiting. We want to see, how this is all going to unfold. But as for now, we will continue to be here doing the classes through this channel that we've been doing for you. So thank you, and we will see you here again in 2 weeks.